We got breaking news. Officials giving us an update on that water main break we've been telling you about in Midtown. Let's listen in.
But we believe that that will be a relatively small number. And while this intersection will probably remain closed for the rest of the day while we continue the excavation and complete the repair, it is limited to this one intersection at this point. The main impact, of course, has been on the subways because the water main is above the subway station here. And so for that hour and a half or so when the water was running into the subway system, and that is shut down. And I turn it over to my colleague here to talk about the impacts on the subway.
Thanks, Commissioner. Rich Davey, President of Dixie Transit. So obviously working closely with the Commissioner and his team to get this cleaned up as soon as we can. But as noted, we've had severe impacts this morning on the 1, 2, and 3 lines. In large part because the water has seeped through here at Times Square and actually moved to its lowest point, which turns out to be south. So right now we're in particular experiencing issues at 23rd Street and 14th Street. At 14th Street, the water is actually over the rail, which is obviously a dangerous condition. We can't run that. In the meantime, we have crews basically walking our tunnel between 42nd Street and 14th to clear debris, make sure our drains are working, which they have been, inspecting comms rooms to make sure no communications were interrupted. But we're working, again, closely with the Commissioner and his team to get service back as quickly as we can. Hopefully that'll be a little later this morning, but again, more to come. Any idea of how long it's going to be shut down?
This intersection, it's a little hard to say until we actually expose the pipe and can figure out what the repair will require. Probably for the rest of the day. We'll know more later.
Do you have an idea in terms of the businesses impacted and their water going to the middle as of right now?
Well, as I said, most of the buildings, because these are such large buildings and on corners, they have redundant water supply.
Right.
So we do not expect there to be widespread impacts on the local businesses. We are right now going around to check to see who's got water, but happily at this particular location, it should be constrained.
Do you have a cause yet? Do you know the age of the main?
So the water main was from 1896. It's a 20-inch main, so that's a pretty big, high-pressure water main. We do not know the cause. We will know that after we identify the leak, cut out the section of pipe, and do some forensic analysis.
That's surprising to hear. It's so relatively new. A lot of times we cover these and it's 100 years old. Are you surprised by that?
Sorry, 1896. It's 120 some odd years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that a concern for you? We have all this old infrastructure.
Look, the reality is we won't know what the cause is until we do the excavation and examine the pipe. I got to tell you, aging infrastructure is not always bad. They built stuff to last 100 some odd years ago, and it did its job for 125 years, right? That's pretty good. What we will do is we will understand what the cause of this might be, and if there's anything that we learn from it in terms of a pattern, obviously we will take that into account. But no, in general, the original design and the maintenance of the system is more important than the age.
How deep is the pipe?
We've reached it, but we haven't fully excavated it. I don't know. I'd have to get you a number. It looks to be about 10 or 15 feet down. As you would imagine, here at Times Square, it's spaghetti under there. There's Con Ed steam, there's electricity, there's gas, there's telecom under there. Happily, it does not look like those other utilities were damaged in this break. That's still a tentative conclusion, but it's an intricate excavation right now.
Do you feel like the city got lucky with this since it appeared to be a smaller water main break? I mean, something like this could have been a lot worse. Your guys got out here really quickly and turned it off.
Yeah, look, I mean, at the end of the day, there's another water main right here that's 48 inches. That would have been much worse because that's, far more than double the amount of water. And it's the week before Labor Day, so hopefully we didn't infect too many people's commutes.
Can you talk a little bit more about what went on underground? I mean, in terms of your response, I mean, it's a pretty harrowing thing. All of a sudden, this water's pouring down there.
Sure,
in terms of your employees and any customers.
Of course. Again, as the Commissioner mentioned, this was at 3 a.m., so the subway is not that full at that time. And I think he also said we're lucky that this is the week before Labor Day, so ridership tends to be a little lower. But as I said, you know, the cleanup is going to take us some time, so I'd be advising our customers to be checking our website, looking at signage. But the 1, 2, and 3 is to be avoided. We're not running really any service in Manhattan on the 1, 2, and 3, so if there are alternatives you can take, you should take them. And just continue to keep an eye out for updates, but we will work as quickly as we can to address the water situation, as I said, as it flows to its lowest point, which in this case happens to be south toward 14th Street.
Did you say 1, 2, 3 all disrupted?
Throughout Manhattan, yes. Yes, it's a very serious, with the power issues we have, making sure that, you know, obviously our trains are safe. We have a number of trains sitting in stations because once the water gets to the rail or the third rail, it can be a dangerous situation. So again, I encourage our customers to check our website, check our app to make sure and see what it is. But right now, the 1, 2, and 3 is not really running here in Manhattan.
We had some tourists passing by from Australia. They were kind of in awe of your...
All right, we are taking a look here, a live look at what's happening here in Manhattan. This is where that water main break is in Times Square. They have to dig down about 15 feet. So in the meantime, we do have these closures going on in Midtown. 1, 2, and 3 trains severely disrupted through Manhattan because of this water main break. 2 and 5 trains are also disrupted. A and D trains, the way to go through Upper Manhattan, or use the M7, M10, the M102 buses. The 4, the A and the D trains, use those for service to Brooklyn. So again, we have this excavation ongoing in Midtown Manhattan as they try to reach that water main that broke. So a lot of service disruptions with our subways, and you can see that mess that we have in the middle of Times Square. 7th Avenue closed, 42nd to 39th, 40th and 41st Streets closed between 6th and 8th Avenue. And again, this is because of a large water main break, 15 feet underground. That water main was from the 1800s, so they have to dig down there. They have to try to excavate that water main that broke. Unfortunately, as you were hearing the commissioner say, there's a lot going on underground, so they have to dig meticulously and make sure they don't damage anything else that is going on underground. And we do have our street cleaning rules in effect for today.